In New Hampshire yesterday, President Trump's lawyer Rudy Giuliani stumped for a local congressional candidate. But new developments in the Russia investigation overshadowed the campaign event. Hours earlier, President Trump said his Attorney General Jeff Sessions should stop this rigged witch hunt right now, even though Sessions is recused from overseeing the probe. While some called the tweet evidence of obstruction of justice, Giuliani said the president was simply defending himself.
He's made it clear that he wanted to run his course, but on the other hand, he is a person with a First Amendment right to defend himself, First Amendment right to express his opinion.
New commentary on CBSNews.com says President Trump's habit of making headlines could divert attention away from Republican candidates leading up to the midterm elections. CBSN political contributor Michael Graham is the author of that piece, and he joins me now from Boston. Michael is a columnist for the Boston Herald and politics editor of NHJournal.com. Michael, thanks for being with us. You were there in Portsmouth, New Hampshire yesterday, where Rudy Giuliani spoke. He said President Trump's tweet was an opinion, not an order. What did you make of his response?
Well, Rudy Giuliani is trying to make a clear case that obstruction is virtually impossible when the president has the right to fire somebody. And so he would argue that that is a cul-de-sac there. Now, already you're hearing pushback on that. So Rudy told the press gathered, listen, you can say that you think President Trump had a bad motive, but we have this report from the IG, and it gave the president plenty of reasons to fire James Comey. Rod Rosenstein did an analysis of Comey's behavior. So even if you think Trump did it for some other reason, the fact that he has a legitimate reason ends the conversation. But what's interesting for me, as someone who covers New Hampshire politics and is covering the 2018 midterms across the country, is the frustration on the face of all the people who are there trying to get a guy elected in a local race who had to watch their entire event get taken over by a tweet from Donald Trump.
I can imagine that must have been frustrating, and I imagine that is repeating itself across the country in local races. So do you expect President Trump to agree to an interview with Robert Mueller?
No, that's Rudy Giuliani, talked about they had just received a letter the day before. They were going to respond to it. But I haven't talked to anybody who's a smart lawyer that I represent who, A, thinks it would happen, or B, if they were the lawyers for Trump, would let it happen. You had a great quote from Major Garrett this morning on CBS. We quoted someone around the president who said that I would throw myself in front of a truck to stop Trump from having that interview. And, of course, he's right from a legal standpoint. But you and I know that what's immediate isn't the legality, it's the politics.
Right. And Michael, Giuliani also said that impeachment will be on the ballot in November. Here's some of what he said.
And I say this in my role not as a lawyer, but as a concerned citizen and Republican. But this election is going to be about impeachment or no impeachment. And Democrats get control of the House. And do you think they're going to treat President Trump fairly? No, I don't think they are either.
Is he right? And is that a winning issue for Republicans? I mean, it sort of takes the focus away from real issues.
Well, so the real issue based on polling in the 2018 election is, in fact, Donald Trump. Morning Consult had a poll a few weeks ago. They asked Democrats and Republicans, what is the number one thing you're going to evaluate congressional candidates on? And both said Trump. Either the Republicans, you love him, Democrats, you hate him. So Trump is going to be at the center of this campaign anyway. I thought Rudy yesterday, watching him with the crowd, and you could hear a little bit of the crowd's response. They're very angry about this idea of impeachment. Yeah. He laid out kind of a pretty good path for Republicans in a tough year because history's not with them. So you've got the impeachment issue. You've got to come out and vote to defend Trump from impeachment. The economy issue, he hit it several times, and the candidate he's endorsing did too. And the wage news this week, I think, is probably the best news maybe for Trump. The fact that wages are now back to where they were before the Great Recession. It's taken us 10 years. And then he threw in immigration. And you think, well, New Hampshire, I mean, come on. Long way to Mexico from New Hampshire. But in fact, interdictions of people crossing the border from Canada into New Hampshire and Vermont have doubled under Donald Trump. There's a policy involving Canada's changing how they handle visas that has not gotten a lot of mainstream media coverage, but the conservative media is all over it. And in theory, you could fly from Mexico to Canada and walk right into America. And so the Rudy was reflecting, I think, the way that Trump's team is thinking, that if we can get people motivated on those three issues, we've got a chance to hold on to the House or to do well in November. But who's their number one problem? Donald Trump.
Right. It's getting caught between a rock and a hard place. I mean, kind of what you were saying now, you wrote in your story, President Trump's habit of making headlines could play a significant role in the midterm elections. And as you point out, it's both a blessing and a curse for Republicans going into November. And I guess in the end, which one is it more of?
Well, the thing that I've heard consultants saying that makes them the most nervous is with President Bush or President Obama, the presidents would say, how can I help? You tell me where to go. And so there were places where W wasn't popular, Obama wasn't popular, and they just stayed away.
Right.
Apparently, what I'm hearing is that Trump is like, I can help everyone. I'm just going to go where I want to go. I mean, Trump is the kind of guy that he might see a tweet from a candidate and say, I want to back that guy. And all the consultants are going, no, it's a purple district. And Trump, get me on the plane. And so I used to run campaigns. I've been covering politics my whole adult life. I've never seen anything like this.
It's kind of a free-for-all. It must be incredibly fun to cover.
It is. And I will tell you that New Hampshire's first district, where Juliana was yesterday, it has flipped from party to party 5 times in the past 7 elections. Trump won it by about a point. The congresswoman who's there is a Democrat. She won by about a point. So it really is one of those districts. It's one of only 16 where they have a Democrat in Congress, but it went for Trump. That really, you can see all the dynamics of the very purple regions of the country. It is so different in these swing districts. And I would say both to the progressives on the left who think that they can set the world on fire with the impeach and abolish ICE message, and to hardcore Trumpers. Those messages don't have the same impact in these razor-thin balanced districts that they do in deep red or deep blue states, and they need to think about that.
That's right. Well, Michael Graham, thank you so much. You have your work cut out for you.
Yes, I do.